Hi, everybody. Welcome to Faces of Foster Care, the official podcast for fostering great ideas. Today, we have with us CerVon Campbell, Sibling Program Manager with Fostering Great Ideas. Hi, CerVon.
Hey,
How are you today?
I'm pretty good.
Good. So, you are what we call an ally. An ally is someone who cares about kids in foster care, is working actively to make foster care better, but doesn't have that personal lived experience in foster care. Before you came to Fostering Great Ideas to serve with Sib-Link, what was your knowledge of foster care?
I always thought it was like the golden ticket, like everything was gonna be great. The kids in foster care like immediately had a family to go to if they weren't already adopted. I didn't really think too much into like boys and girls home because movies make them sound bad, but I was just really familiar with me coming from teaching. Like a lot of kids had like foster homes, so I just assumed it was just kind of like a great environment that was better than what they had, prior. So it was a complete turn when I actually learned what the foster care system was. I always thought it was like a really great thing.
There's this myth of benevolence that it's
hmm
all good because, on the outside it looks good, but when you get to really see the situations and know the kids, what are some of the challenges that you've seen that were totally unexpected?
Um, there's a big disconnect. A lot of times I see in the kids might lack their own culture and identity, and they miss out in that aspect. Um, you always feel like you're missing a part of yourself because you're not in contact with your main family. And me growing up with my siblings, I never thought about the effect it would have on somebody who didn't have access to see them on a regular basis. I always say I was burdened to see mine every day. So imagining like somebody really like yearning for that connection, it just completely blew my mind.
And so, what do you see on the faces of the kids that you work with Sibling when you bring them together for a sibling visit? What sticks out to you on their faces?
Um, I always see like two sides of it where it's the kid, like the one who always wants to reminisce. They don't too much care to talk about the stuff now. They just want to talk about other family members, other memories. Like, remember when we did this? Remember what we when we did this? And then it's the ones who are the exact opposite, and they don't want to remember because they're usually the older sibling. They have more trauma, and they're trying to forget, and they want to know like, how's your life now? Those are the two sides that I see mainly, but it's usually a big turning point, like something for them to really look out for and look forward to. Getting to see their sibling and planning this big, extravagant like visit, even if it's just going to the park. It's always like a monumental thing that we get to do every month.
It's really special when they
It
get to
is.
have that time together. So the sibling program with Fostering Great Ideas is basically we get kids who are separated in different foster homes or group homes from their brothers and sisters, and you take them out once a month to see each other in person, hug each other, and have a nice visit together. And then they have to go back to living separately and wait sometimes a whole nother month before they get to see each other again.
hmm
How does that weigh on you?
I have had to, in some cases, disconnect because some visits are really hard. And sometimes they'll talk about traumatic things really casually and they'll kind of hit me. So it's a lot of work that you do have to take home with you emotionally. But for the most part, you get this rewarding feeling that you're helping somebody, even if it's just as little as you're planning something. When they all come together, and sometimes it is a fight to make these visits happen because the scheduling for everybody, sometimes foster parents just aren't interested, and sometimes even some siblings aren't interested, but you have to fight for those who it really mean a lot to. So it's more good days than bad.
It can be really hard though to see the kids
Yeah.
go been so hard. So tell me about your favorite visit you've ever been on.
My favorite visit. My favorite visit, it was my favorite just because it was so much chaos going on, but they just like every punch that we took, they just tried their best to laugh it off. And it's like everything you could imagine to happen bad happened. So it started off with one sibling, his foster parent was really iffy on continuing visits post adoption. And she wasn't sure if she was going to come. So it was only planned for two siblings. And that's the first bad thing. And we're going to be outside of the amusement park. So that's another bad thing where you think it's supposed to rain that day. And they're upset because one brother didn't make it and he ends up making it, but it was like really last minute, so we kind of like pushed the visit back a little bit. Um, they asked for food, didn't get the right food, waited for food for a long time. We had game cards that wouldn't work, and all this stuff that me as a OCD person was just really freaking out about. They were just kind of like, "Oh, it's okay. We're gonna go do this. We're gonna do this," and they stayed together. They one of the brothers um they were driving go-karts and one of them hit somebody that like one of the workers and everybody's freaking out like, oh my God, he hit him. And he came back, he's really apologetic, he's feeling bad. And the worker came, it was like, it's okay. He kind of kept going. He was hurt, but he didn't want to like, be hurt from this kid, like let him know that he did this. And he's feeling bad, but his brothers, they're there for him and they comforted him. One brother, he saves up his allowance every month so he can buy his siblings gifts. So he didn't even want me to buy game cards for them because he was like, "Oh, I saved up. I want them to know I paid for it," which no, it's fine. But he just fought in every way possible. Like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you an icy. I'm gonna get you this." He just wants to show his love in some kind of way. And one has this like they all have different love languages. So that one is gift, one is physical touch. So he just hugs on them the whole time. And they just made it out. They made it out of all of this stuff that would have drove me completely insane just off of, their bond, just happy to be with each other. And I just thought that was just a really cool thing.
That's all that really matters when it comes down to it, right? Not what you do, but that you're together.
Right.
I love the older sibling really wanting to show that sort of care and affection too. That can be really hard for older siblings who have taken on like a parent role in the past.
Hmm.
To have that taken from them when sibling separation happens can be really hard. I
Right.
love how you
And he,
said
he
they
works
have,
hard for it.
yep. I love how you said they have different love languages. You recognize that in the time that you spend with them, how they show their siblings their love in each individual way.
And it's hard because them all having different love languages, they always feel like another sibling isn't really involved or wants to be there. So they kind of not necessarily panic, but they kind of reach out every so often to me or just kind of ask like, is he okay at home? This, that, and this. And they're all like the oldest one is 14. So all three of these really young ages ask questions that are like so profound, like, hey, is everything going on okay for at home with them? How are they doing in school? They ask these like mature questions about each other. Ask me just because they want to know, like, am I doing something wrong? Why aren't they, wanting to give like accept my gifts or do this? And it's just they don't understand love languages yet, but they all are like loudly showing how much they love each other. They might not all see it, but it's there.
I love that. Well, to wrap up, what's one thing that you wish people saw in these children who don't get to see their brothers and sisters? What's one thing about their faces that you wish everybody could understand?
Um, you need your the nurture. You need the people who you identify with, you were kind of raised with, you share DNA with to make your identity. You can't really wipe that away because you're gonna have this sense of something's missing. So a lot of my adoptive parents, I urge like don't cut this off because they're gonna need each other. You might not see it right away, but in the long run, there's an identity that's gonna be missing. So I push everybody to embrace that.
Yeah, that's so important. So important for the lifelong outcomes for these kids too. We want them to be adults who have kids who have aunties and uncles because they have strong sibling relationships and they can, be
Right.
with friends and things like that. As someone who was separated from my siblings, it's so hard to reconnect as an adult when you don't have those, like you were saying, you remember when we did this? You remember when we did that?
Mm-hmm.
Those bonds are so important to nurture. And when kids are in foster care, a lot of times they're split up. And the problem is that we don't have three, four open beds in any given foster home waiting for a big sibling group to come in. So if kids come in
Mm-hmm.
and there's more than two kids, it's really difficult to get them all placed together. And then compounding factors could be some kids have family members who can take them, and other kids are half siblings, and those same family members can't take those kids. Some kids are older, some kids are younger, and placements are only willing to take a certain age group. Some placements only will take the girls. And so maybe the sisters can stay together, but the brothers get separated, or they can only take boys. So the brothers will maybe sometimes stay together, but the sisters can get separated. And I think that the system as a whole, and that includes us, as a nonprofit who contributes to this child welfare system, we really see it from the big picture of like we immediately have to get these kids to safety, but there is
Mm-hmm.
so much safety and comfort in being with your siblings, and we really need to be champions for that. And so thank you, CerVon, for stepping up and doing this work. It's challenging, but like you said, so rewarding to see the looks on these kids' faces
Mm-hmm.
when they get to hug their brothers and sisters, and really hard to watch them say goodbye.
All right. I always give so much thanks to David to introducing me into this because I feel like I've grown a lot as a person, getting to see a lot of things on this side. It gives you a lot of sense of like a sense of gratitude for everything. And yeah, I always give appreciation for him.
Well, I have so much appreciation for you, and I'm so happy that we're the same together. And I love hearing about all the sibling visits. I wish I could be closer so I could go on more. But that's it for this week, guys, and we will see you next time.